Good evening, friends, welcome to my channel. The tennis world is still reeling from the emotional shockwave that tore through the Lindner Family Tennis Center in Cincinnati, a night of high drama, shattered dreams, and a controversy that has left everyone asking the same question: what really happened to Alex Eala? The young Filipina sensation, the pride of a nation, the girl who had captured the hearts of millions with her fearless tennis, walked off the court not just defeated, but broken. The tears that streamed down her face were not just tears of loss, they were tears of exhaustion, frustration, and the crushing weight of expectations that had been building for months. But just when it seemed like the night couldn't get any more dramatic, a shocking twist emerged from the shadows of the locker room. The WTA, the governing body of women's tennis, had stepped in with a gesture that stunned everyone. While Eala's bid for a 10th victory over a top 10 opponent had fallen agonizingly short, the WTA decided to present her with a special prize, a recognition that transcended the scoreboard and acknowledged something far more significant than a single match. This is the story of how a tennis match became a crucible of emotions, a tale of heartbreak, controversy, and an unexpected prize that no one saw coming. The stage was set for a showdown that promised to be one of the most captivating matches of the tournament. On one side of the net stood Amanda Anisimova, the American powerhouse, a two-time Grand Slam finalist, a former world number 3, and the 9th seed in Cincinnati, a player known for her devastating ground strokes and her ability to take the ball early and dictate play with an almost ruthless efficiency. On the other side stood Alex Eala, the 21-year-old Filipina phenomenon who had taken the tennis world by storm, the 17th seed, a player who had already beaten 9 top 10 opponents this season and was on the cusp of her 10th, a milestone that would have cemented her status as one of the most dangerous players on the tour. The barangay, the passionate Filipino fanbase that had turned the tournament into a home game, had packed the stadium to the rafters, their flags waving, their voices hoarse from cheering, creating an atmosphere that 4-time Grand Slam winner Naomi Osaka had once described as more like a basketball game than a tennis match. The energy was electric, a cauldron of noise and emotion that seemed to lift Eala to new heights, a wave of red, white, and blue that washed over her and gave her wings. As she walked onto the court, the roar of the crowd was deafening, a thunderous ovation that seemed to shake the very foundations of the stadium. The match began with a ferocity that took everyone's breath away. Eala came out firing on all cylinders, her movement fluid, her ground strokes precise, her mind sharp and focused. She was a whirlwind on the court, dictating play from the very first point, her powerful left-handed game creating angles that Anisimova simply could not handle. The crowd roared with every winner, every ace, every point that Eala won. The 5th game of the first set turned into a marathon battle, lasting 20 minutes and 11 seconds, featuring an astonishing 13 deuces. Anisimova had 8 breakpoint opportunities, but Eala repeatedly fended off the pressure, showcasing the mental toughness that has become her trademark, to lead 3 games to 2. She broke Anisimova's serve and raced to a lead, her confidence growing with every game. The first set was a masterclass in controlled aggression, a display of tennis that reminded everyone why Eala is considered one of the most exciting young players on the tour. She took the set 6-4, and the stadium erupted, the barangay celebrating as if they had already won the championship. It felt like a coronation was underway, a moment of glory that would be remembered for years to come. But in the world of tennis, momentum is a fickle mistress, and in the world of Alex Eala, the night was far from over. But Anisimova was not a player who would simply fade away. She had been to the biggest stages in the sport, had faced the best players in the world, and had come back from the brink of defeat more times than she could count. In a moment of raw, unfiltered frustration, she turned to her coach during a changeover and offered a blunt assessment of her own performance. Not much fighting spirit, so yeah, she admitted, a moment of vulnerability that seemed to ignite a fire within her. She found a new gear, her flat, penetrating ground strokes suddenly finding the lines with laser-like accuracy. She adjusted her tactics, started taking the ball earlier, and began to put pressure on Eala's game. The momentum shifted dramatically. The second set became a battle of wills, a war of attrition that pushed both players to their absolute limits. The games were long, the rallies grueling, the tension unbearable. Anisimova claimed the only break of the second set at 3 games apiece, a crucial moment that allowed her to level the contest. But in the crucial moments, it was Anisimova who held her nerve, her experience and tactical nous proving to be the difference. She took the second set 6-4, and the match was level, the crowd now a mixture of hope and anxiety. The final set was a brutal, heart-stopping affair. Eala came out strong, breaking Anisimova's serve early to take a 2-love lead, capped by a stunning forehand winner that seemed to signal her intent. The crowd erupted once again, their hopes soaring. It seemed like Eala was on the verge of closing out the match, of securing her 10th victory against a top 10 opponent. But then, something shifted. The pressure, the exhaustion, the weight of expectations, it all seemed to catch up with her. Anisimova, sensing the moment, raised her level even higher. She won the next 6 games in a row, a stunning and relentless run that left Eala shell-shocked and powerless to stop the tide. The American's power was overwhelming, her confidence unshakable. Every time Eala tried to fight back, Anisimova had an answer, a winner, a perfectly placed shot that left the Filipina rooted to the spot. The match, which lasted a grueling 2 hours and 28 minutes, ended in a stunning 4-6, 6-4, 6-2 victory for Anisimova. Eala's 5-match winning streak against top 10 players came to a screeching halt, a dream shattered in the most painful way possible. The moment the final point was played, the stadium was hit by a wave of silence, a deafening quiet that replaced the thunderous roar of the crowd, a collective gasp of disbelief that seemed to suck the air out of the venue. On the court, the weight of the loss descended upon Eala like a ton of bricks, crushing her spirit and breaking her heart. This wasn't just any defeat, it was a missed opportunity to secure a milestone 10th win over a top 10 player, a chance to prove to the world that she belonged among the elite, a chance to make history and inspire a nation. The tears she had held back for 2.5 hours finally broke free, streaming down her face like a river of emotion, tears of exhaustion, frustration, and the crushing weight of expectations that had been building for months, years, a lifetime. She walked to her chair, her body shaking, her legs barely able to carry her, and buried her face in a towel, the sound of her sobs muffled by the fabric, a breakdown witnessed by thousands, a moment of raw, unfiltered emotion that showed just how much this loss meant to her. The fighter, as Anisimova had called her, had finally been broken, her spirit shattered by the cruel hand of fate. But then, something extraordinary happened. As Eala sat in the locker room, still processing the sting of defeat, a WTA official approached her with an announcement that would change the narrative of her tournament. The WTA, recognizing the incredible impact she has had on the sport, the millions of new fans she has brought to tennis, and her historic achievements throughout the season, decided to present her with a special prize. It wasn't a trophy for winning the tournament, but something far more meaningful, a recognition of her status as the WTA's big ticket, the player who has single-handedly sold out stadiums and inspired a nation. The official acknowledged that while she may not have won Cincinnati, she had won something far more significant, the hearts of millions, the pride of a nation, and the respect of the entire tennis world. The WTA praised her for becoming the first Filipino to win a WTA Tour singles title, for her incredible run to the 4th round of Wimbledon, and for her unwavering commitment to the sport. They highlighted her journey from a promising junior to a global phenomenon, a journey that has introduced an entire nation to tennis and inspired a generation of young Filipinos to dream big. But the drama didn't end there. The controversy surrounding the match had begun days earlier and was reignited in its aftermath, adding a layer of intrigue and tension that would dominate the headlines for days to come. In her previous match, Eala had secured a dominant victory over Elena Gabriela Rus, the Romanian veteran who had once shattered her Grand Slam dream at the 2024 US Open qualifiers. The match had ended in retirement for the injured Romanian, but the scoreline, a ruthless 6-1, 3-love, had left a bitter taste for some, a display of dominance that had humiliated the veteran player and left her searching for answers. The whispers that followed were far more dramatic than the injury itself, rumors that spread through the tennis world like wildfire, fueled by frustration and desperation. In the days leading up to the Anisimova clash, a shocking rumor began to circulate. Rus had demanded a racket inspection, alleging that something was illegal about Eala's strings, that her equipment was giving her an unfair advantage. The tennis world was abuzz with speculation, a storm of accusations and counter-accusations that threatened to overshadow the tournament itself and cast a shadow over Eala's remarkable achievements. Was there something wrong with Eala's racket? Was her equipment giving her an unfair advantage? The allegations, though unconfirmed, added a layer of tension to an already volatile situation, a subplot that captivated the tennis community and left everyone wondering about the truth. While the whispers of an inspection never materialized into an official complaint, the implication was clear. Ruse, completely outplayed and frustrated by Eala's dominance, had been looking for any edge, any excuse, to explain her defeat, to salvage her pride in the face of a humiliating loss. The racket inspection rumor became a symbol of the desperation Eala was instilling in her opponents, a sign that her rise was causing ripples of fear and insecurity among the players on the tour, a testament to the psychological impact she was having on the sport. In the end, the only inspection that mattered was the one Anisimova conducted on Eala's game, finding the weaknesses and exploiting them with surgical precision, a masterclass in tactical adjustment that showcased her experience and intelligence. Yet, the respect remained, a testament to the sportsmanship that defines the game. Anisimova, having triumphed, was generous in her praise, her words filled with admiration for her young opponent. "I know Alex is such a great player and such a fighter," she said, her voice sincere and respectful. She even acknowledged the deafening support for her opponent, humorously noting that she appreciated the energy because she felt like she needed a pick-me-up in the match, as it was past her bedtime, a moment of levity that broke the tension and reminded everyone of the human side of the sport. It was a classy end to a brutal battle, a reminder that even in defeat, Eala had earned the respect of her rivals, a sign that her journey was just beginning. The Cincinnati Open ended for Eala in heartbreak and tears, but her journey was far from over. She had come so close to another monumental victory, only to see it slip away, a cruel twist of fate that would test her resilience and determination. But she had also reminded the world of her incredible fighting spirit, her refusal to give up, her unyielding belief in herself. The tears in her eyes were not a sign of weakness, but a testament to her immense passion for the sport, her burning desire to win, and her love for the fans who had supported her through thick and thin, the barangay who had become her family, her strength, her inspiration. Despite the loss, Eala's achievements in Cincinnati were significant. She earned 65 WTA ranking points for reaching the third round, which lifted her 2 places to a projected new career-high ranking of 18th in the world. She also secured 47,605 pulgadas prize money for her third-round finish, a result that pushed her career earnings past the 3 million mark, a remarkable milestone for a player still in the early stages of her professional career. The Alex Eala effect was still in full force, a phenomenon that had captivated the tennis world and inspired a generation of young Filipinos to dream big, to believe in themselves, and to never give up on their goals. As she left the court, her head held high despite the tears, the barangay rose to their feet, not in celebration, but in a show of solidarity, a standing ovation that echoed through the stadium like a thunderclap. They applauded her, their voices filled with pride, their hearts aching for their hero, their love for her undiminished by the result. It was a moment of connection, a bond between an athlete and her fans that transcended the outcome of the match, a reminder that true greatness is measured not by wins and losses, but by the impact you have on the lives of others. They knew that Eala would be back, stronger, more determined, more fierce than ever, a warrior who would rise from the ashes of defeat and continue her march towards greatness. The loss was a setback, but it was also a lesson, a chapter in a story that was far from over, a story of resilience, hope, and the power of the human spirit. The US Open, the final Grand Slam of the year, is looming on the horizon, a tournament where Eala is expected to be a seeded player in the singles main draw for the first time in her career. She has also been granted a wild card into the mixed doubles tournament, where she will partner with world number 4 Felix Auger-Aliassime. She has the momentum, the confidence, and the support of millions behind her. She has the wisdom of her coach, Joan Bosch, the confidant who has been by her side through every triumph and every heartbreak. And she has the admiration of the greats, including Maria Sharapova, her childhood idol, who has reached out with words of encouragement, urging her to trust the process and keep fighting, to never give up on her dreams. This is not the end of the story of Alex Eala. It is just the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter that will be written with grit, determination, and an unshakable belief in herself, a chapter that will inspire millions and change the face of tennis forever. The world will be watching as she rises from the ashes of this defeat, as she channels the pain into power, and as she continues her march towards greatness. The Alex Eala effect is far from over, it is only just beginning. So, as we say goodbye to Cincinnati and look ahead to the future, let us remember the moments of joy, the moments of heartbreak, and the moments of inspiration that have defined this incredible journey, a journey that has united a nation and inspired a generation. And let us all be a part of it, supporting her every step of the way. This is my channel, and my video, and I thank you for being a part of this incredible story. Good night, friends, and we will see you in New York.